Let's touch base with Newzroom Afrika's Veronica Makhoali now, who's monitoring the Rand Water Infrastructure Maintenance Programme. Parts of the city have experienced low pressure, some are even without any water, and that's a situation they've been experiencing for some days now. She joins us from Auckland Park, and Veronica, when we were testing before we came onto the live programme, you showed us queues of people at the JoJo tank that's arrived there.
Yeah, that's right, Michelle. In fact, despite the scheduled planned maintenance, it seems Rand Water's promise to keep water pumping at specific rates is not necessarily taking place, with residents now completely without water. Taps have run dry in this community. We're standing here at one of Joburg Water's stationed JoJo tanks. Of course, this is amongst the many, if not hundreds, of JoJo's tanks that have been put together by the water utility, where residents, of course, can access those locations on the website. We've been speaking to some of the residents about their experiences of the water shortages, and I'm going to talk to one resident now. Hi, sir. Thank you so much. You're live on Newzroom Afrika on channel 405. Tell me a bit about how long you've actually been here right now.
Hey, I've been in the queue for just over 2 hours, and we've not been having water for the whole of the week.
Yeah.
It's just a big mess, So now they give us the tank for like 2,500 liters, but then again it runs out like within 3 hours or so. So it's just a frustration on our side. So the whole of Melville, Auckland Park, there's no water, and we don't even know what we're gonna do at this point in time. Yeah.
And you know that this is, of course, part of Rand Water's maintenance work that's going to end at the end of July. There has been some concerns regarding communication from both entities. Do you feel that there was communication? Did you know about this maintenance, or were you just one of those residents that perhaps didn't prepare soon enough?
It was just a surprise. Like, they just sent us a message telling us that it was going to be off for it's a planned maintenance that was going to be off for 48 hours. But then what they told us is that they're only going to shed 50% of the water. However, now they're coming up with stories that, hey, it's a high lying level and whatsoever, hence we don't have water. So, hey, it's just a frustration on our side.
Thank you so much for your time. Just hearing one of the residents speaking there about the fact of exactly that, those specific rates about when water would be pumping not necessarily taking place. Them saying that, in fact, Michelle, while we've been here, we've seen people come in and out of these water tank, this JoJo tanker, where they have been filling containers, saying that, of course, that it runs out within hours because people are trying to get as much water as possible. And then, of course, it takes some time until those tankers reappear. Of course, also speaking about the issue of high-lying areas, Auckland Park is known as one of those very volatile water systems when it comes to Joburg Water's infrastructure, serviced, of course, by the Commando system. We know that often when maintenance takes work, or even just a simple disruption to the water supply, it could take weeks until residents here are really starting to feel, water coming back into their taps. But we're going to talk again to another resident, just to get another understanding of the experiences here. Mayor Dumela, thank you so much. You're live on Newzroom Afrika. Mayor, just tell us as well, we spoke to one guy who said he's been here for 2 hours. I've seen you here with your children as well throughout the morning. How long have you been here?
It's 1 hour here. Even in more hauna metsi hauna next ga sokola ha o tla mo batho ba tswa mazwantle banka metsi a mantshi mo bona re thole metsi mo, and so ke emele bana mo hauna metsi ko ntlo ga na metsi a o pheya ga na dijo tsa go ja. Evening this bar ha o ya go spa o lo ga ka metsi ha teng. Thank you.
Me o konjetse o bua ka di container. Njetse taba yo ke eng bothata ka di container?
Di container tsa mo dingata too much. Even motho a i1 tlamile a gagela bucket a1 gore batho ba kire metsi ka ofela mo. So batho ba nke di bucket tse ngata ene le jojo e ba e beile mo e nyane for batho ba mo. Tlamile a nenela batho ba mo e nyane. Batho ba Melvin ba bangata o feta. And so even in the bana ba teng mo hae ba hloka metsi full time, every time ba hloka metsi a honwa, ebile ba hloka le metsi a ho hlapa. Even in the washing e tletse mmang ke a kgona ho hlatswa.
That was one resident who actually relaying the issue of the containers that are here, saying that residents are coming with too many containers and, of course, emptying out this stationary JoJo tank. She's calling on the fact that there should be at least some sort of regulating about how many containers people are able to come with to fill up, saying that it should be one container for one resident. And I can tell you from here, Michelle, that there are a few people here and it's not one container for one resident. You can see that there is definitely a large amount of stockpiling that is taking place, and you could understand that issues that have already been raised by residents saying that they are not sure in terms of the schedule when these stationary tankers are actually filled. And so when residents come with their containers and they, of course, take out and empty out the tankers here, it leaves other residents destitute, with many of them saying, we don't know exactly when is the right time to come. I can tell you now, Michelle, that it's a Friday. Some people are at work. Some people, of course, are still busy. By the time that they return at the end of the day, this JoJo tank is likely to be empty and they will not have their opportunity to get that necessary alternative supply of water. What we do know so far, especially when it comes to the issue of supply, is that the Icon of Pump Station from today is expected to be pumping at about 80% for the next sort of 12 days up until the 13th of July. Whether or not that will be felt by residents here on the ground is yet to be seen. Back to you.
Thanks for that, Veronica. Yeah, just really a dire situation, and just you can see the size of that JoJo tank. It's barely enough for a community the size of Melville, where you are. Veronica Makhoali, thanks very much for tracking the story for us. We have also here at the Daytime Update team reached out to both Johannesburg Water and Rand Water. The response that we've received from Johannesburg Water is that they are currently in a meeting giving an update to councillors on the progress of the maintenance program, and they're addressing concerns discussing alternative water supply in their wards. We have pushed them to come onto the program to provide some answers, given the fact that the promise was that residents and businesses would have at least 50 to 67% of water coming out of their taps. And we now see that the situation for most households and businesses is that their taps are completely dry. And they certainly do owe us an explanation, given the fact that they've advised in the build-up to this maintenance program that there was no need for residents and businesses to store water. Some residents saying that they've been without water for days on end. We've also not had a response from Rand Water. So we are trying our best to get you some answers to what is really building up to be a crisis in parts of Johannesburg.